Welcome to True Story About Infidelity. Today's emotional story is more than just a story. It's a true story that happened in the dreamy lands of Seattle and Tacoma. With the author's permission, we've titled the story, My Wife Sought Freedom, but I Ended It When My Cheating Wife Got Hit with Karma. Cheating Story. Every detail is rooted in real memories, and it will surely tug at your heartstrings. Join us as we explore and follow Part 1 of the husband's journey and heartache. I never thought a night in Seattle, with its drizzle and coffee-soaked air, could mark the end of my marriage. My wife Emily, 30 years old and a knockout by any Pike Place market standard, dropped a bomb on me. She wanted an open marriage. It was a Friday evening, February 23rd, 2025. I remember because the Puget Sound rain was tapping away outside the window of Canlis, this fancy joint overlooking Lake Union, where I'd booked a table to celebrate our 6th anniversary. I'd set everything up. A spot with white tablecloths, a killer view of the city lights bouncing off the water, a bottle of Willamette Valley Red she loved, and even a silver bracelet I snagged from a little shop on First Avenue for $800. I was decked out in a gray suit I barely ever wore outside Redmond meetings, and Emily looked stunning in a tight black dress. I wanted to see that smile of hers, the one from back when we met at the University of Washington's Suzzallo Library, her with a book on Nordic architecture, me spilling coffee all over her white sneakers. But that night, no smiles showed up. "Jake," she started, her voice soft but steady, like the waves hitting Alki Beach. She set her fork down, her slim hands folding together on the table. "We need to talk." I grinned, figuring she'd bring up our summer plans, maybe a trip to Olympic National Park or a week chilling at Lake Chelan. "Sure thing, babe. What's up?" She didn't answer right away. Her eyes drifted off me, lost somewhere between the ferries slipping out of Elliott Bay in the dark. "I need space," she said, her voice shaky. "I want to see other people. I think an open marriage would be good for us." It felt like time froze. The clink of silverware from other tables, the chatter of folks nearby, all of it faded into static. "See other people?" I echoed, my throat hoarse like something was choking me. "What do you mean, Em? Dating when we're married?" She finally looked at me, but it wasn't the gaze of the woman I'd married 6 years ago at St. James Cathedral. "I love you, Jake. That hasn't changed. But I need to feel alive, to feel wanted. I'm losing myself in this life. Work, the house, the same old routine. Just a few months, then I'll come back, and we'll be stronger." I set my wine glass down, my hand trembling so bad I had to grip the table to steady it. "You want to sleep with other guys and expect me to sit around our Capitol Hill apartment waiting for you to have your fun?" My voice came out louder than I meant, and a couple heads turned our way. "Keep it down, hun," she hissed, her cheeks flushing. "I'm not leaving you. I just need to figure myself out. Don't you see? We've turned into this work-obsessed couple. You at the Redmond lab, me at the Fremont shop. I don't feel attractive to you anymore." I didn't know what to say. Attractive? I'd been busting my ass 60 hours a week at Microsoft to pay off our Pine Street place, saving up for that little house in Bellingham she'd always dreamed of. I dragged her to dinners in Gig Harbor across the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, jogged with her along the Discovery Park riverfront. I tried my damnedest to keep her happy, and now she's saying I don't make her feel wanted. "Emily," I said, my voice dropping low as anger simmered, "we vowed to be faithful. I don't get what you're thinking. You want me to sign off on you dating, screwing around, then waltzing back like nothing happened?" "It's not like that," she shot back, her tone spiking. "This isn't cheating, Jake. I'm asking for permission. I want us to be honest. I'm not leaving you. I'll still be here, in our home." I let out a dry laugh, no humor in it. "Here? With me? While you're out with other guys? Who do you think I am, Em? Some chump who'll wait while you explore yourself?" She went quiet for a sec, then reached across the table trying to grab my hand. I pulled back. "Jake, I love you. I just need this to know who I am outside this marriage. After that, I swear we'll start over. Maybe have kids like you've always wanted." That promise cut like a knife. Kids pushing a stroller around Green Lake, whale watching in Friday Harbor. Now it's replaced by her in someone else's arms. I didn't say another word. I stood up, tossed $200 on the table, enough for the bill and the bracelet I wasn't giving her anymore, and walked out. I need air, I muttered, stepping into the Seattle rain without looking back. The drizzle soaked through my coat as I drove down E5. No destination, just needing to get away. My head pounded, a hammer slamming my temples. I ended up parked in some empty lot near Lakewood, 40 miles south of Seattle, and passed out in the car, too wrecked to face reality. Next morning, I woke up stiff-necked and hungover from exhaustion in that Tacoma lot, fog rolling in and the Cascades peeking through the haze. I stumbled out, sucking in the cold air, trying to convince myself last night was a nightmare. But it wasn't. Emily meant it. I hit up a greasy spoon in Puyallup, ordered eggs and toast with black coffee, and sat there figuring out my next move. I loved her, no question. 6 years of hiking Mount Rainier, camping at Chelan, laughing through La Push downpours. But now she wanted to trash our vows, and I didn't know if I could forgive that. Driving back over the 520 bridge, I decided I wasn't letting her off easy. If she wanted freedom, she'd pay for it. I couldn't live with a wife dating other guys. It'd drive me nuts. Our Pine Street apartment was dead quiet when I walked in. Emily was waiting, eyes red like she'd been crying. "Where were you all night, Jake?" "I was freaking out," she said, coming in for a hug. I stepped back, voice flat. "I need a shower, then we talk." Under the hot water, I tried washing away the chaos, those early days watching movies at SIF, grabbing flowers and salmon at Pike Place. We'd been happy, or so I thought. What changed? Did I drop the ball? Or was she just running from something I couldn't see? Cleaned up in jeans and a tee, I grabbed a coffee from the Nespresso and sat across from her at the kitchen counter. She clutched her Earl Grey, the go-to when she's stressed. "All right, Em," I said, steady but firm. "Explain it again. Why do you want to do this?" She locked eyes with me, green like Diablo Lake in the sun. "I need to feel seen, Jake. Our life's all work now. You at Redmond, me at Fremont. I don't feel hot to you anymore. I need to know who I am outside us." "So you're going to date other people but still crash here with me?" I asked, fighting to keep my voice even. "Yeah," she nodded. "I'm not bailing on you. I just need some freedom for a bit. I'm still your wife, Jake. I love you." "I don't buy it, Em," I said, tougher than I expected. "We swore fidelity at St. James. If you want other guys, you're out of here. I can't live with you while you're hooking up with someone else." "Honey, where am I supposed to go?" she asked, panic creeping in. "Maybe Sarah's place in Ballard," I shot back. "She's single, got that big spot on Market Street, or rent something in Renton or Tukwila. But you're covering it, rent, car, everything. I'm not bankrolling your exploration." She could handle it. She pulled decent cash managing that Fremont design shop. I made double at Microsoft with quarterly bonuses, but no way was I funding her new gig. "Jake, I'll come back," she said, reaching for my hand. "Just a few months. Then we can start over. Kids, a family, all you've wanted." I yanked my hand away, staring her down cold. "So what am I supposed to do while you're out banging other dudes? Sit here waiting? Or maybe I get the same freedom. If it's an open marriage, it's fair both ways, right?" She went silent, first time all night. I stood up. "Move your stuff to the living room. I can't sleep next to you right now. This hurts too damn much, and I need to think." She didn't argue. She hauled her suitcase to the living room, where we'd spent lazy weekends with Netflix and popcorn, and shut the door. Part of me broke watching her go, but I knew if I didn't draw a line now, I'd lose myself before I lost her. Part 2, Parallel Lives, Day 1. After Emily split from our Pine Street apartment, it felt like the world got sucked dry. The rain tapping the windows wasn't cozy anymore. It was a damn countdown to the end of us. I stood in the living room, staring at the empty spot where her favorite armchair used to be. She'd said she was crashing with Sarah in Ballard, just a few miles away, but it might as well have been the Pacific Ocean. I couldn't stay there a second longer. Grabbed my keys, drove over the 520 to Redmond. Work at Microsoft was my hideout. Code, endless meetings, lab buzz, keeping my head off Emily. But that day, even the trickiest algorithms couldn't erase her. Those dodging eyes at Canlis, her shaky voice about finding herself. I stayed late till the Redmond building was a ghost town, just a few coders hunched over screens in blue glow. When I left, it was pitch black, rain smearing the windshield. I didn't want to go home, so instead of heading to Capitol Hill, I hit Green Lake, 10 miles out. Parked by the water, stepped into the drizzle, and ran the loop around the lake, letting the wet soak through me. The water mirrored blurry streetlights, my footsteps sinking with the rain, a rhythm to drown out the ache in my chest. Running became my thing after that. Every night post-Redmond, I'd hit Green Lake or Discovery Park by the Duwamish, sometimes pounding pavement till my legs went numb and my breath rasped in the cold Seattle air. Dropped nearly 10 pounds in 2 weeks, part exercise, part stress, killing my appetite beyond black coffee and stale bread from the corner shop. But running couldn't fill the hole Emily left. One rainy Saturday, scrolling online in my too-quiet apartment, I stumbled on a meetup post for a climbing group in Issaquah, 25 miles east of Seattle. I'd climbed with Emily in Olympic National Park way back, but hadn't touched it in years. Figured I needed something to break the work-run-sleep cycle, so I signed up for their next trek. We met at the Tiger Mountain trailhead in the Cascades. About 15 folks showed up, newbies like me and grizzled climbers with ropes and helmets. Leading the pack was Laura, a 32-ish woman with sun-streaked brown hair tied high, and a smile bright as a golden garden sunset. Rocking a green rain jacket and worn hiking boots, her voice boomed with energy as she laid out the plan. A 6-mile slog up Tiger 3, 2,500 feet of elevation. "Hey everyone, I'm Laura, your guide today," she said, scanning the group. "Don't sweat it if you're new. We'll take it slow. No one gets left behind. First-timers, raise your hands." I hesitantly lifted mine, along with 3 others. Laura clocked me, grinning slyly. "All right, gray jacket guy, I've got my eye on you. No tumbling down the cliffs, okay?" The group chuckled, and I cracked a smile despite the weight in my gut. The climb kicked off, and damn, it was tougher than I remembered. Slippery trails from the rain, thinning air as we climbed. But Laura stuck close, coaching my steps, pointing out rocks to grab or roots to dodge. At the top, the view hit hard. Cascades stretching east, Lake Sammamish glinting under rare sun breaking through clouds. I plopped on a rock, panting, and Laura sat beside me, handing over a water bottle. "Not bad for a first go," she said, sipping her own. "You're Jake, right? What brought you out here?" I hesitated. Needed to get out of the house. Life's been a mess lately. She nodded, not prying, but her eyes softened like she got it. "I've been there," she replied. "Climbing saved me. Maybe it'll do the same for you." I didn't say much, but her words stuck as we hiked down. At a little brewery in North Bend after, I sat with Laura and some others, nursing an IPA and a burger. First time in weeks I could breathe without Emily's shadow crushing me. Meanwhile, Emily was living a whole different story. I didn't dig for dirt, but Seattle's too small to keep secrets. Matt, an Amazon buddy who haunts Belltown bars, told me he'd spotted her and Sarah at a 2nd Avenue dive. "She was with some tall blonde dude, looked techie," he said over coffee in Pioneer Square. Sarah was flirting with a guitarist from a local band. They were having a blast. I nodded, keeping my face blank, but my insides twisted. "Thanks for the heads up, Matt," I said, sipping coffee to hide it. "She's doing her thing." That night, driving over the Tacoma Narrows, I couldn't stop picturing Emily, laughing in a bar, dancing under dim lights, maybe taking someone back to Sarah's Ballard pad. Did she think of me at all, or was I just a faded Polaroid in her exploration? I hit the internet, holed up in my dark apartment, researching infidelity. Stats said 40% of married folks cheat, and plenty stay put for kids, cash, or habit. Articles claim women stray for emotional kicks or excitement, missing from daily grind. Had I buried myself in Redmond work, chasing mortgage payments, and forgotten to love her right? Or was she chasing some fantasy she didn't even get? I called Tom in Tacoma, an old Minneapolis pal who'd been through divorce after his wife cheated. "You think I dropped the ball with her?" I asked, leaning on the balcony watching rain streak Pine Street. Tom sighed. "Jake, you can't keep beating yourself up. I thought the same. Worked too much. Wasn't romantic enough. But it's her call, man. If she wants an open marriage, she knew it'd hit you hard. You didn't screw up to deserve this." "She says it's just a few months," I said, voice thin. Then she'll come back. You buy that? Tom asked point blank. I went quiet. I didn't know anymore. Laura turned into an unexpected lifeline. I hit the climbing group harder. Saturdays, sometimes Sundays, tackling Mailbox Peak or Mount Si. Laura was always there. Funny but deep, spinning tales of Yosemite trips or Rocky Mountain climbs. She worked part-time at an Issaquah gear shop, dreaming of a kids' climbing school. One night, camping at Lake Diablo after a long haul, she sat by me at the fire, flames dancing on her face. You okay, Jake? She asked softly. You've been quieter lately. Something about her made me open up. My wife, she wants an open marriage, I said, first time spilling it to anyone but Tom. She's with a friend in Ballard, seeing other guys. I don't know what to do. Laura didn't judge. She nodded, poking the fire with a stick. Dated a guy like that once, she said after a beat. Thought I'd be cool with it because I love freedom, but I can't share someone I love. Walked away, never looked back. Not sure I can walk away, I admitted. I still love her. Then you got to figure out your line in the sand, she said, eyes steady. You can't let her define your happiness forever. Her words echoed in my head all night, lying in my tent with the wind rustling the trees. I started seeing that while Emily chased her freedom, I could chase mine too. A few weeks later, I asked Laura for beers in North Bend post-climb. We sat in a corner, yakking about trails and bad movies. Dropping her off at her Issaquah place, she leaned over and kissed my cheek. Thanks for today, Jake, she said, smiling. You're a good friend. I drove back to Seattle, her warmth clashing with the rain's chill. But stepping into my empty apartment, reality hit. My phone lit up. Matt. Saw Emily in Belltown with another guy. She was trashed. You all right? I didn't reply. Shut it off, crashed on the sofa, and let the rain lull me to sleep. Our lives were parallel tracks now, her chasing freedom, me clawing for meaning. One of us had to veer off eventually. 3 months since Emily bailed from Pine Street, I felt like I was stuck in some warped rerun of my own life. Still grinding at Microsoft, running Green Lake loops, climbing with the Issaquah crew, but it was all coated in this dull haze. Like I was just going through motions, not living. I'd hoped early on she'd call, say sorry, admit she messed up. Nada, just random texts from Matt or Mom back in Minneapolis, checking if I was okay. Word about Emily trickled in through mutual pals, though I didn't ask. She and Sarah were regulars on 2nd Avenue in Belltown, hanging with tech bros from Amazon or scruffy musicians from Crocodile gigs. Matt texted me once from a Pioneer Square bar. Emily just left with some tall dude, more Vegas vibe than Seattle. She was hammered, Jake. Want me to do anything? I shot back. Nah, let her have her freedom. That word tasted sour as hell. I couldn't keep drifting in this limbo. One Friday night, after a rainy Discovery Park run soaked my hoodie, I drove to Home Depot in Renton, 15 miles from downtown. Picked up 3 new locks, front door, back, big living room window, and a basic toolkit. Back home, I spent the night swapping them out. Each turn of the screwdriver a middle finger to Emily, waltzing back like nothing happened. Changed the garage code downstairs too, wiping out her easy access. Next day, I texted her first time in weeks. Locks are changed. Let me know if you need anything left here. No drop-ins. She didn't hit back right away, but 2 days later, fine. I'll reach out if I need to. No sorry, no regret. Just coldness I didn't recognize from the woman I'd slept next to for 6 years. While I was staking my boundaries, Laura became my rock. Cascade climbs brought us tighter. Post-Diablo camping, I started hitting her up for beers in North Bend or dinner at some Issaquah hole-in-the-wall. She wasn't like Emily. No constant need for attention or big romantic gestures. Her presence was chill but solid, like the Mount Si trail she guided me on, peaceful yet tough. One Sunday after gutting it up Mailbox Peak, steep as hell, legs shaking, we sat at the top staring down Snoqualmie Valley. Laura handed me an energy bar, grinning. You're getting good, Jake. First time you nearly ate dirt, now you're keeping up with the pack. I laughed, gulping water. Thanks to a solid teacher. Still need a few lessons to not embarrass the group, though. She tilted her head, curious. Ever think about something bigger? Like Rainier? You've got it in you. I mulled it over. Rainier, Washington's 14,000-foot beast, was always a pipe dream. Emily used to joke she'd cheer me on from the base with wine. With Laura, it felt doable. Maybe, I said, but I'd need a good guide. You free? She laughed loud and clear through the mountain air. Challenge accepted. But you're buying me dinner first. That night, instead of bolting back to Seattle, we hit an American diner in Fall City, 10 miles from Mailbox. I got steak and mash. Laura went for a salmon sandwich and local IPA. We talked trails, her Yosemite trips, my Minnesota winters. As the diner lights dimmed past 9, I dropped her at her Issaquah spot. Before she hopped out, she leaned over and kissed me quick on the lips. Short, warm, heart pumping. Thanks for today, Jake, she said, smiling. You're something special. I drove home buzzed, but stepping into my empty Capitol Hill pad, guilt crept in. I was still married, technically. Was Laura's kiss a betrayal when Emily'd gone way further? Sprawled on the sofa, rain drumming outside, I told myself I deserved to live, not just limp along in Emily's wreckage. Reality yanked me back fast. Monday morning, brewing coffee in Redmond, Matt called. Dude, heard from a Fremont pal. Emily hit Vegas last week with some guy. Venetian hotel, big spring break vibes. You know about this? I gripped the phone, forcing calm. Nope. Thanks for the heads up. You good? Matt pressed, worried. I'm fine, I lied, knowing we both saw through it. Vegas was the last straw. No more kidding myself, she'd come back like she promised. This wasn't finding herself in Seattle. It was a whole new life. Flights, swanky hotels, strangers I didn't know. I called Tom in Tacoma that night, leaning on my balcony watching Pine Street mist up. Think I need to divorce her? I rasped out. Tom sighed. Been waiting for you to say that, man. You can't let her stomp all over you forever. What did you do wrong to deserve this crap? Dunno, I said, but I'm done living like this. Next day, I hit up a lawyer in Bellevue, a few miles from Redmond. Daniel Pierce, silver-haired and sharp-eyed. Laid out the whole mess. Canlis, Vegas. I don't want to fight over stuff, I told him. Split it 50-50. I just want out. Pierce nodded, jotting notes. We need proof of her behavior for a quick divorce. Hire a PI or wait for more. But from what you've said, we've got enough to roll. I greenlit a PI. A week later, the report hit my inbox. Vegas wasn't the half of it. Emily'd been with at least 3 guys over 3 months. Caught on camera in Belltown, Fremont. SeaTac boarding with that blonde Matt mentioned. One was a married Amazon engineer, another a Numos guitarist, third a Portland businessman leaving a downtown Seattle hotel. Reading it in my Redmond office, my stomach knotted. This wasn't exploration. It was betrayal, plain and ugly. I sent it to Pierce, told him to file ASAP. While I geared up to cut ties, Emily's new life started biting back. Sarah texted me out of the blue late May from Ballard. Jake, not sure I should tell you, but Emily's in trouble. Doc says she's got an STD. Not life or death, but a long haul to fix. Thought you'd want to know. I sat frozen on the sofa, staring at that text in the dim light. Thanks, Sarah, I shot back. Not my problem anymore. But it didn't end there. A week later, Matt called while I was eating seafood with Laura by Lake Sammamish. You won't believe this, man, he said, voice shaky. Emily's pregnant. Word from Fremont. She's freaking out, doesn't know who the dad is. You doing anything? I set my fork down, glancing at Laura's curious eyes across the table. Nope, I told Matt. Filed for divorce last week. She picked her path. Hanging up, Laura touched my hand. Everything okay? I spilled it. The STD, the pregnancy, the divorce. She listened, no judgment, then squeezed my hand. You're not on the hook for her choices, Jake. You gave her a shot. She didn't take it. Time to live for you now. That night, Laura stayed over, first time. We lay in bed, rain pattering the window, and for once in months, I felt lighter. Emily might have torched what we had, but I wasn't letting her burn my future. The divorce papers hit Emily early June. She showed up at my door next night, brown envelope in hand, pale and teary. Jake, why are you doing this? She quavered. I said I'd come back. I stood in the doorway, not budging. Em, you went to Vegas with some guy. You've been with half a dozen dudes I can't count. You think I'd wait forever? Read the papers? Court order says you can't come near here till it's done. She sobbed, stepping closer, but I held up a hand. Jake, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to blow up like this. I'm pregnant. I'm scared. Can't you give me one more chance? I stared at the woman I'd loved more than anything, my heart icing over. You had your chance, Em. Go. She turned away, footsteps heavy in the Seattle rain. I shut the door, locked it, and knew this was the breaking point. Not just of our marriage, but of who I used to be. Ultimately, this story reminds us that freedom is something we all crave, but it doesn't always bring happiness. Emily chose her path, but it's Jake who teaches us that sometimes letting go isn't a failure. It's a way to find yourself again. If you're dealing with heartache, remember, rain can soak you, but it can also wash away the pain. Don't be afraid to keep going, no matter how gray the sky is. Life still has mountains waiting to be conquered, new friends waiting to be met. So Jake's journey in the Seattle rain has come to an end. Thank you for accompanying the true story about infidelity. Channel through this emotional story. If you were moved by what Jake and Emily went through, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next true stories. Share your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think is right and who is wrong in this story? See you under the sky of new stories. Goodbye.